The Nomad is portable, which this piano is clearly not. But if you combine Mozart and Chopin, you get Kohlstadt on steroids. And if I would have taken steroids, I wouldn't have been able to.
And welcome to this webinar live from the company HQ here in Oslo. And today we are so happy to have Rolf Ollmar with me here in the studio. Welcome, Rolf.
Thank you very much.
And today we are actually going to talk about this little baby which is lying in front of us.
Yes, this is the Nomad.
Oh, yes.
It's a nice little piece of equipment.
I say so.
It's nice, heavy, and
Yeah.
made out of one piece of aluminium, actually.
Wow.
It's something that you wasn't really able to do 2 years ago.
No, I can imagine, you know, the cost of doing these kind of things is prohibitive.
It was something that you could maybe do if you were Nera 20 years ago and doing very expensive RF equipment.
Yeah.
But it has become possible to do now, and we did it with the Nomad.
It's beautiful. I mean, and it's very, very thin, and it's not very heavy either.
No, you can easily carry it around.
Yep, good.
Yeah, it's always good. Nice shielded, conducts heat away very well.
Yeah.
So it has basically everything you could expect in test and measurement equipment for the broadcasting business.
Yeah, I can see that there's a multitude of there's not only, you know, one input here. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's 3 Ethernet.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff here. So you have 3 Ethernet plugs, management, video, and you also have an optical SFP.
Cool. 3 gigabit Ethernet.
Yeah, exactly. So,
that's nice.
That's very good, and it caters for all the IP-related portions of the business, if you like. So it's like a cross-section of all the specifications in one box, if you like. So
yeah, because I can see that there are some BNCs and some well-familiar F connectors for RF there as well.
Yeah. We like that. All our gray-haired people, like myself, we like RF. So we have a DVB-T, DVB-T2. We have a DVB-S, DVB-S2. There's also a DVB-C interface. All of these DVBs, they are basically the nuts and bolts of our business for carrying television.
But that means you have then terrestrial, you have satellite, you have cable.
And ASI as well.
And ASI?
For the internal.
And IP?
Yeah, and IP. So all in one. There's even some wireless stuff in this as well.
Yes, I can see. Is that a Wi-Fi chip?
Yeah, that's exactly it. So using this, it becomes like a Wi-Fi zone. Just as in your home you connect to your personal Wi-Fi zone. So this can also act as a Wi-Fi zone. You just put it there and you can connect your laptop or your tablet directly.
So no cables.
No, exactly. That's it, yeah. So it's all good. Yep.
Pretty nice. What's the last connector? I can see that there is one more RF plug.
Yep, exactly. There is an SMA connector there, and that's used for GPS connectivity for doing accurate time synchronization.
That's pretty cool. So that means that you can then use it for, let's say, terrestrial networks, which are very, very, needs perfect synchronization. You can measure down to, milliseconds.
Yep. Yeah, or even
microseconds
down to
or nanos.
sub microseconds. You can you can measure down to. So that's possible, definitely. Yeah.
So it's a versatile little box, I say. I say. We've been talking about ISM for many episodes, basically, and this is like, integrated services monitoring in one box because it's got everything.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And for less than 5,000 euros, you get a cross-section of everything we've been working on the last 15 years, basically. So there's a lot of stuff that's gone into this. yeah, like we mentioned earlier, it's a cross-section of the whole industry that we have, basically. Yeah.
No, but I think that let's go through some of that functionality, and basically we have the amazing Ståle is with us. And he is the man that is capable of showcasing a lot of these functionality. And I thought, let's start from the top. I have a cheat sheet here, basically, which will help us a little. And you know, we're all about IP, of course, because we've been in that business for maybe the longest. And of course, it's got the full IP multicast analyzer in it, of course.
Yeah, I mean, the basic model right out of the box comes with 10 IP multicasts that you can hook into and monitor in parallel. And you can do ETR analysis on them. So in this way, you can do statistics on packet loss, jitter, using especially one technology that we call the media window, which is something that maybe probably one of the core technologies that we've had in our product for the longest. And it gives you a timeline view of packet loss jitter at a glance. And in this way, it's possible to intuitively know what's going on in your network.
That's very true. Ståle, do you have a media window for us? Oh yes, there's Ståle. He's coming up with the media window. It's excellent. And you're right, because that was really one of those first visualization technologies that really caught people's imagination. Because again, as you said, it kind of visualized what's going on without you having to be an expert looking at all these weird numbers, but you can really see
exactly.
What's happening.
That's exactly it. I mean, it's a complex and difficult topic, but sometimes you should not have to drill all the way down to the nuts and bolts to be able to know what's going on and see the overall picture. And that's what we were trying to solve with the media window. So basically colors over time and trending data. And in this way, you can immediately see if you're losing packets in a switch somewhere, and in this way trace the system fault and not only have a focus on a single box.
And you can actually have that data for the last 4 days in one box.
Yep, that's correct. It has built-in memory. It also has a storage device inside of it for 32 gigabit of data, so you can look at logs for 4 days, but you can also record using what we call RDP, remote data protocol. That's for storing and also triggering on faults that happen on the fly. And
so if you then have an error, it will automatically record that error, and you can download that to your via the web browser, of course, because all this is remote, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the whole idea. So that's a very good example there. You just install it, and sometimes these faults, they take a long time to happen. It can happen. Maybe there is a system if you look at it over 2 days or 4 days, but if you look at it there and then for 5 minutes, you might not be able to see it. So
no, exactly.
So trending is really key, and that's what we do with this device. We can leave it behind, and in this manner, come back to it 24 hours later, connect the laptop to it, and see what's happened in the meantime.
But that is, you know, that's a multicast, and of course, that's one aspect of IPTV, or let's say TV over IP, if you like, that was one of the first examples.
Yeah.
But now, of course, we have, you know, OTT.
Yeah, that's all the rage these days, and has been for quite some time. We were probably some of the earlier ones to implement functionality in the adaptive bitrate OTT area, and the Nomad is a fully working adaptive bitrate OTT monitoring device. It has an OTT engine in it. When we speak about engine, that's what we use for monitoring the adaptive bitrate feeds, and so you can do up to 10 of those initially, and you can add options as you go along.
And that is how many profiles?
Yeah, there's actually no limit on the number of profiles. There is a limit on the number of streams initially, just the total channels, But that's more licensing thing. If you want more, you add more licenses.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So that means that with multicast IP and of course adaptive bitrate and OTT, well, then you're kind of settled with everything over IP.
Yeah, pretty much. That's really a good combination. You can measure before and after the adaptive bitrate origin servers and get a good overview of what's happening in your network.
And that leads on to that, you know, there is, in the old days, a lot of this data was encapsulated into various transport streams types, and especially the famous TS101-290 transport stream, which is the mainstay of the broadcast business.
Yep.
We do have one or two functions on that one.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's one of the core functionalities in all of our products, really. It's what we refer to as the ETR 290 engine, but it's, like you say, the correct specification is TR101-290. It's one of those DVB specifications that's been around for years, and it has really defined the business in a sense, because it tells you in a common language across everybody who's implementing equipment and systems what to look for, what faults to look for. And they divide the faults into priority 1, 2, and 3, and we can look at all those categories and drill down further into each of them, so you can look at details. And we've added our own special source to it as well. And typically within conditional access system monitoring, and these are areas that are difficult to measure. But we can do stuff like control word change monitoring and EMM measurements. Okay, that's detailed, but these are...
that's pretty deep.
Yeah, that's...
are we into the geeky stuff now?
Pretty close, I think.
Yeah. No, but that's also, you know, it's pretty wide, because this is just not just wide as we talked about ISM, but it's pretty deep as well, because I know that you can go and basically analyze the physical hex codes being transmitted. Yeah,
you can dig into everything really, and there's also a function we call the gold, the TS gold reference, which is looking for something that's not the fault. That sounds a bit strange, but it's actually looking for something that, according to the spec, is green, you know, it's good, but it's in your operation, it could be wrong, like sending the language on a different channel that you're expecting it to.
Oh, exactly, like sending a German language to France.
Yep.
That would probably not work very well.
I think wars have been started in that way, so.
Well, we now have the Nomad as a war-avoiding tool.
Exactly.
That is pretty good, I say, Rolf. Very, very good.
Yeah, we're proud of it.
No, so moving on to also then the RF interfaces, because of course with the RF interfaces, the ETR290 analytics becomes also of course very important, since the majority of terrestrial and satellite and cable is still transport stream encapsulated.
Yep, definitely. So so we're moving on to the RF side of things, and ETR is of course directly applicable to these interfaces as well. It's a common layer, the transport stream layer, and it's relevant for satellite, cable, terrestrial, and interconnect interfaces like ASI. So,
because I think the Ståle had one of the fantastic analytics capability with, of course, the graphical view of the physical RF signal.
Yeah.
The constellation
exactly.
diagrams.
Yep, these are RF-specific features, constellation diagrams. It's basically fuzzy dots on a screen. And the more fuzzy they are, the worse your signal is. The more clear and defined they are, the better your signal is. And there is a figure that's attached to this constellation diagram that's called an MER, modulation error ratio. So that's something that the quality is measured at when you're talking about digital system.
That's pretty cool. So that means that we have a lot of RF analytics, so that we basically can make sense out of the physicality of the RF transmission as well as the deeper meaning of the content.
Yeah, definitely. And if we have time, I'll spend 30 seconds explaining very briefly a good example of this. This device has actually been on a boat trip across the North Sea.
This one?
Yes.
Really?
And, it's been across the North Sea on the ferry, and it's been measuring the MER, the constellation diagram, across the North Sea, and trended data for a 24-hour period. And in this way, just to make sure that the coverage is okay out there, because that's not necessarily true depending on fog and conditions on the weather. So
exactly.
And you just leave it there. It runs 24 hours. They connected the laptop to it and extracted detailed RF measurements from the device, and could then build up a picture of the coverage across the crossing.
That's pretty advanced.
Yeah, it's
I say.
Yep.
Okay, less than 5,000 euros, so please run and buy one of these. That's very, very cool. But, you know, we immediately then went on to one of the other points I have, that, again, it's a self-contained unit. You don't, it's got its own CPU.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So according, some of the other stuff you found out there, it's something you plug into a PC, like a USB dongle or something like that. We don't do that. We believe in having something that is embedded, designed robustly, and that has its own brain, basically. Yeah. So in this way, you're not depending on operating system versions and all kinds of weird stuff, and you can just leave it behind. And as long as it has power and signal connected, it does its job, and you can rely on it doing its job. And when you come back to it later on, it will have its measurements ready for you to look into.
That is pretty cool. So let's see what our residential musical genius will actually make out of that one.
The Nomad! Best of all worlds! Everything at the same time! This is too good to be true! I cannot simply handle it!
I say, well, it's not that crazy, because it's very true. It is amazingly portable and amazingly affordable as well. Yep. But we have a segment which we like to call, you know, why this matters. So tell me a little, why does this matter?
Well, it is really a cross-section of everything that we've done. Yeah. It's and it's the perfect companion for the engineer on the move. You know, it has all the advanced functions you would expect of a much bigger monitoring system, but it's cost-effective and portable, and it makes it easy to use. So these are.
And again, it's so pretty.
Yeah.
So, so if that counts for something, that absolutely is good for that. Thank you so much, Rolf, for coming today and showing us the Nomad. We're very, very proud of that product. And, well, you know, it's a beautiful day outside. So instead of spending too much time in the studio, I think that we round up here and basically wish you all farewell. And welcome back to the next episode in our Tuesday series.